ESPN analyst gets candid about unproductive Caitlin Clark-Angel Reese rivalry. Ever since the May 17th moment between Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark and Chicago Sky standout Angel Reese, when Clark received a flagrant foul for a take foul turned shove on Reese, which Reese responded to by getting up and going after Clark, thus earning her a technical, the discussion about the rivalry between them two has been reignited. Then again, talk about these two rivals never really died down. It only lay dormant throughout the WNBA offseason. Regardless, there has been a ton of Clark and Reese talk from the sports media community recently. And ESPN analyst Monica McNutt delivered her own opinion during a June 10th episode of the Rematch show. All of this noise that has come around this perceived rivalry, that I often really vacillate if it is really good for the women's game or not. Because at this point, I find it to be very unproductive, McNutt said. She later added, they are athletes. They are high-level competitors. And so far, it has not been Caitlin's decision to discuss some of the bigger issues in women's basketball and its media in depth. She's not gonna be the person that is hopping on the collision and talking about all of these intersectional things. And that's okay. She has said the right things. Anytime something happens between the two of them, it becomes this big fracas. And I just think that is so unfair, McNutt added of Clark and Reese. While McNutt's comments about Clark and Reese haven't always gone over well, her take here will likely be agreeable to many fans. Fever fail first real test since losing Caitlin Clark to injury. The Indiana Fever hadn't faced a team over 500 since losing guard Caitlin Clark to a quad injury after their New York Liberty loss at the end of May. They were 2-2 without Clark headed into their contest against the Atlanta Dream. Now, the 2-3 Atlanta managed to dismantle the Fever with sound defense, an organized defense led by Jordan Canada and Alicia Gray, and a dismantled game from Indiana all around. It was unlike what we've seen from the Fever since they got Ari McDonald to help run things on the floor off the bench, and since Kelsey Mitchell had begun to heat up. With no Clark, and a lack of shot-making from Aliyah Boston, who has been absurdly efficient this season, it was hard to see a way for Indiana to squeeze out a win in the key Commissioner's Cup matchup against the Dream. The loss revealed the most obvious thing about Indiana that we can point out: they're badly missing Clark in their offense. And they have to hope that she's ready for their big game against the Liberty this Saturday. No Clark, a major blow to Indiana in first real test. While the Fever have several veterans with the ability to heat up quickly, Drew Bonner, Natasha Howard, and Mitchell. For example, they looked bogged down by Atlanta's on-ball pressure the entire game and their front court featuring Bree Jones. This was evidence of just how much Clark is missed in this offense. With her on the court, it's hard to commit so much of your defense to collapsing in on whoever is driving with the ball. She's always going to be a threat, so defending her has to be calculated. Instead, Atlanta managed to force 11 turnovers on the Fever. With their loss to the Dream, the Fever are also in a pickle within the Commissioner's Cup standings. Prior to the Dream game, they had a fighting chance to catch up to the top team in the Eastern Conference, the Liberty. Now, they're headed back to Indiana to face New York, who has a ridiculous advantage in the standings due to point differential. It was always going to be a stretch to hope that the Fever could keep up their momentum against a team like Atlanta, who rest a lot of their success on their defensive prowess. Despite Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark being sidelined for the last 4 games due to a quad injury, the team has begun to click on the court without a guard running the offense. Without her over 9 assists per game, Indiana was struggling to figure out where to find their facilitation from in their losses to the Washington Mystics and Connecticut Sun. However, since signing Ari McDonald to a hardship deal, the team has taken a complete turn. They're 2-0 since signing her to the team. And her defense plus facilitation have helped land Indiana back within the top 5 of the Athletics power rankings through about 4 weeks of WNBA action.